agricultural finance agencies.
Markets provide
arbitrage.
Markets provide
bond futures.
Markets provide
brokerage commissions.
Markets provide
bulk commodities.
Markets provide
bankruptcy. bond futures.
Markets provide
after-hours trading.
Markets provide
agricultural finance agencies.
Markets provide
arbitrage.
Markets provide
bond futures.
Markets provide
brokerage commissions.
Markets provide
bulk commodities.
Markets provide
bankruptcy. Welcome to the final candidate debate to see who's going to join my board of directors. I'm incredibly excited about this. I wanted to kind of set the stage here. What we're going to do, so we're going to bring on the three remaining candidates. We're going to talk to them. We're going to quiz them. We're going to get to know them. And during that, everyone watching is going to be able to comment and in the chat, and you can also vote live kind of how you're feeling as this thing is going on. So we'll post a link to a quiz where you can look at kind of ordering the different candidates or selecting. However, we phrase it in different ways as we move forward, but you're basically going to be able to do live polling as we go. Yeah, so this whole purpose is to give me a board of directors, people that I can turn to and be able to sort of get advice from, especially about matters that aren't public. These two representatives that we're going to determine today, right now, are the ones that are best going to represent the shareholders in these sort of secret meetings that guide the course of my life, and depending on how much you have at stake, your financial future. Let's get into candidate introductions and bring everybody to the stage. Here we go. Oh, 1 second. There we are. Welcome, everyone. Let's see.
Good to be here.
I'm going to run through, yeah, let's run through this order. So first we have Josh here. Josh was the first person to ever create a KMyGame account after we set things up. He and I have been friends since high school. He's currently my third largest shareholder. It makes a lot of sense to me to have Josh here running for the board. He's somebody that I often have turned to over the course of this project for advice and feedback. And so I'm excited to have him as a candidate. Next, we have Bo. He bought his shares back in 2013 and has just been steadily increasing his stake ever since. One of the things I really appreciate about Bo is he's always pushing me to sort of abandon the old failed projects, of which there are many. Something that I really believe his passion for this, as a person who I've seen get interested in a lot of things. I imagine he has also had to abandon a lot of his own projects and speaks from experience there. He also co-leads the shareholder poker game, and he has won pretty often, but has, I think, nearly perfect attendance at that. And then finally, we have Doug. Doug is the second largest shareholder. He has also been increasing his stake in me since 2013, building. He and I have communicated frequently. only met once in person, missed each other in
Oh,
Portland.
twice. Oh no,
Oh, twice?
I don't
Or
know.
once? I don't know. Very few times, but I feel like I know him. We communicate a lot. He's kind of a, first to comment, gives a lot of insight. He's a self-described enthusiastic shareholder, and I know that he's a big lover of projects. And I sort of have always seen Douglas as the kind of shareholder I would want to be if I was on the other side of this. So these are our candidates. Only two will make it to the board as your shareholder representatives. Let's talk about how this is going to work today. We are going to do a Jeopardy style quiz and see how much you know about me, who you all own a lot of shares in. So there's going to be these four categories. Mikey likes it: origin damage, money stuff, and wild card. You'll get to select. I'll quiz you, and then it's sort of a very quick question, and then you'll have an opportunity to comment if that brings something up. If it's something you want to say, feel free to veer off as politicians do and just stick to your own talking points. It's all allowed. You can address each other, but you can only speak after your specific question is answered. Points are irrelevant, but we will make fun of you if you lose too many. Any questions or anything else that you guys want to say before we jump in and get started? Josh?
Bo? I think I have no idea what to expect from this process. I'm excited about it. Classic K Mike EM project. Looking forward to the discussion and the debate.
Let's play some Jeopardy.
Nice.
Legally distinct non-Jeopardy.
Yes, Jeopardy-like. We're also definitely not a stock market. We just follow the model of a stock market. Okay. We're going to go in order, Josh, Bo, Doug, in the order that you guys are presented on screen. So let's bring Josh into the Jeopardy room and get this started. 1 second. Josh, first question. You get to choose any one of these. Category and number.
I'm going to pick origin damage 5.
Origin damage number 5. Go. What job, or MOS, did Mike have while in the Army?
Oh, I know what you did, but I'm trying to remember what it's called. There's a code name for everything. You had 2. Okay, so Mike was in the Army, inspired by his dad for reasons I don't think we entirely understand. That might be between you and your therapist, Mike. You enrolled isn't the word. You enlisted as an MP, but I was primarily, you were an armorer. You were the person handing out weapons and ammo to people, which seems like a job for a person who might have been more responsible than you were at the time.
Or just wasn't 18 years old. But yes, the answer is correct. Military police. Any additional comment or statement that brings up for you in relation to being a board member?
I mean, I guess it's a time when you might have been able to use, if you had this project at the time, I wonder if the outcome would have been different. It's a time in your life when I don't think you really knew what you wanted to do or what you wanted to be. And I guess I'm glad you have K-Mike Yem now so that you don't enter the military again without some really good advice.
Thank you, Josh. Okay, going back to, let's bring Bo in for the next round. And I did the wrong one. I'm trying to also keep track because we still okay. Bo, what category, what number would you like to try?
Let's try money stuff for 5.
Ooh, that's not the right key. 1 moment. That really okay. Money stuff for 5. Here we go. Why is it not changing to slide 5? 1 second. That is not the right slide. I might have to share and unshare. 1 second. I think I
I'm gonna
lost.
vamp for you a little bit here
Yeah, go ahead.
and say that I'm really appreciating your ghostliness, Bo. Are you in the front seat of a vehicle?
Yes, the RV where I live. Yes. Yeah.
Super ghosty. I love it.
I can open a window, but then I get really bright. Ooh. What infamous? Okay. Mike, are you going to read the question?
Yes, sorry, I didn't
Okay.
realize it reset my Zoom there for a second. Okay, so
Gotcha.
what infamous activist investor attempted to hijack the way McDonald's operates? This was spoken about in episode 6 of my hit podcast, Hamburger Business Review.
Uh, and this is not a KMIKEA investor. This is a McDonald's investor.
Correct.
Uh, this is going to be total guess because I don't remember from the episode. And I don't even know how to pronounce his name, but it was Carl Icahn involved. Bill Ackman.
So close. The other one. Essentially, there's two of them. Yeah, and it was the other one. Oh yeah. So this down at the bottom now, if you go to the Slido URL and use the QR code and enter that number, you can actually vote for kind of going into this debate. You can order the candidates, and we will see this updated live as we're chatting here. So, but before we move on that one, is there anything sort of, I don't know, shareholder, activist, investor that you want to bring up in terms of being a representative of the shareholders?
I think the three of us are here because we want to push you in various directions. And I think, as you mentioned, the direction I'd like to push you in is to kind of end some projects that are in need of ending so that you can look forward and build on the projects that are going to be better for you. And that's kind of my activist bent.
I like it. It's a good reason to acquire shares, and then you get to increase the value of the company. All right, moving on to Doug.
Yeah, I'll go money stuff 4.
Money stuff. I did that again. 1 second.
I think we're being steered toward Mikey likes it.
No, it's just the next order. It's because I'm clicking in weird ways. Okay, here we go. Money stuff 4. In 2016, Mike wrote a manifesto about what it is an example of what is it, publicly financed. Wow, I really messed up the language on this one. In 2016, I wrote a manifesto that was about a certain product being an example of how public company financing kind of creates an unfair advantage for operations at scale. So I was talking about a very specific thing that we all know and love, and I was using it to show here it is, and it's sort of like someone can make this and sell it versus here it is at this massive scale. So what product was I using to sort of understand the unfair advantages of businesses at scale?
So 8 years ago, I'm drawing a blank, so I will say perhaps McDonald's because it's at the core of things.
It's a good guess. It was a manifesto about pizza. I had it was while I was at Chroma. We were at the Barclays Accelerator. It was my big contribution to the company before I left the company. So yeah. Talking about scale, financing, is there anything that comes up for you in terms of how you might think about being a board member for KMIKEM?
Yeah, one of the things I like is the calmness of this project compared to some of the crypto projects we've seen out there. I do like that I've seen not many people cash out their shares over time. So I'm liking the idea that together, as long as we don't sell, we can keep pushing this thing up and sort of keep the value of the share rising. I miss those days when it was $15 to $20. I want to see us hit probably 50 if possible.
Ambitious. I like that. Okay. Let's go back to Josh.
I will take wildcard 1.
Wildcard number 1. See if we can get there without seeing Mikey likes it. All right. Josh, this is an easy one. What are the 2 VTAC tattoos Mike has on his body?
Boy, I feel like the harder question would be what
is
VTAC
VTAC?
stands for. It's
I could tell
Do you
you.
remember?
A verified, trusted authenticity certificate.
Yeah, so this is the project where you verify like kind of your endorsement of a entity by
Yeah.
getting it
Yep.
secretly tattooed on your body. I think
Exactly.
they're the only VTAC tattoos on your body, but they're also the only tattoos on your body, period. You have Panic, your former employer and full of beloved friends, and Alex Mann. What does it say? I don't actually remember what
That's
that one says.
Yeah, no, that's all it is. It's Panic Inc. and Alex Mayhem. Those are the two.
I hope they're enjoying the benefits of this certification process. Really brings them so much credibility in all their dealings.
You know, if anyone ever asks, this is a company and a person I highly recommend and vouch for.
Truly.
So yeah. I don't know. I feel like this is an example of a project that I pursued all the way, got these things tattooed on my bodies, but has not been really top of mind with KMikeEM. So I wonder if that brings up any sense of board direction or input or thoughts for you.
I don't know why you quit this one because I think it's a relatively low opportunity cost project. I think people pay you for the privilege, if I remember correctly. So it's profitable, which is let's be clear, pretty rare for your projects. I think it gets funnier and more absurd and more artistic as you get more and more of them too. So I mean, what was the framework I laid out in my initial remarks that I think KMikeEM is its best when it's entertaining, ethical, inclusive, and profitable. I think this project is all of those. And I think if your whole arm were covered in these, that would be a tremendous development. So this is a project I'd advocate for more of.
So if anyone wants their name or a name of something tattooed on my body, get in touch.
What are the rates? And wait, how has inflation affected your rates? Because Ben,
the rates,
you did one of these.
The concept was always that the rate would slowly increase, like on some kind of curve. However, there's only been two. So I think the next one I could say pretty confidently is probably like, $600, and I'll plus the cost of the tattoo, and I'll get a tattoo.
So there's conceptual element, like the guy who was selling those T-shirts, and the first one was $1, and they went up by $1 for each one. Was that Dries DePorter? That was great. I think it was him. Amazing. And so I don't know where he topped out, but that's a great concept for you.
That is I love that idea, actually. Yeah. Okay. Let's get through this round. Let's go back to Bo. I'll come back here. Bo, you're bored.
Yeah, let's do Mikey Likes It for 3.
Mikey Likes It for 3.
Oh,
Mike co-managed a blog empire in Portland called what?
Was this Urban Honking?
This was indeed Urban Honking.
Nice.
Good job. Yeah. In a lot of ways, I feel like Urban Honking was a training ground or precursor to what I've done with KMikeEM. It was, I would say, even more community-based. I was not like necessarily the central hub of it, like I have to be in this. And I think I've used a lot of that stuff here and looked for other places to apply it, sometimes even professionally. It's also, I think, a good example, and it's interesting that you picked this one, of a project that sort of ran its course and I think ended. It didn't have it wasn't a big hurrah. It arguably went on for too long and there was like different phases of it, but it's nice that it's over, honestly. It's not a current responsibility. Yeah. That's
great. If I'm on the board eventually, I think I would push you to write more. So good training in that regard as well.
More writing, less projects. I like that. Okay, let's wrap up this round with Doug.
I want to say wildcard 3. Just for a sec if it hasn't been taken.
I'm keeping track. I'll let you know if anything's been doubled up. I didn't have an easy way to do that on the slides. All right, wildcard 3. Mike made his first media acquisition with shareholder support, I will add, in 2016 when he took over what?
I don't remember media acquisition. I remember he took over the Manila Mac envelopes for iPads. Media acquisition.
Shareholder approved. Additional hint.
Yeah, that's
media acquisition.
2016 came up in the other question too. I must have in a way that you were just blanking out? I don't have the answer for 2016.
The answer is Snacker
Oh,
News.
yeah, okay. Yeah, and I remember
Yeah.
that Change Wizard and like, yeah, all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Another, another great example of an ongoing. Anyone can go to Snacker News. You can read and post. It's like hacker news for food and snacks. It is very close to my heart, and as Josh said, I probably will never make any money from it. Okay,
I'm really embarrassed that I never connected Snacker News to Hacker News until right now. It's just an admission of guilt.
Fair enough. All right, we're going to go to round 2, which means we're going to reset the Slido questions. So it's going from kind of what's your support first off going in to now we're moving to so far, which candidate has performed the best in this debate? That's the question. Go ahead, cast your votes, and we will continue on to round 2. Josh, the board is yours.
Let's head over to Mikey Likes It for 2.
After wearing only Brooks Brothers for years, what brand did shareholders eventually allow?
I think this was during your time at Chroma, so it was kind of a move that was connected to business strategy, which we got to approve, if you ask me. This is when you started being allowed to wear Nike products in addition.
The answer is Nike. Yes, started Chroma. We were in the tech accelerator, and they gave us free Nike clothes, so it seemed like we should wear them. Plus, yeah, just being in that environment. What's your thoughts looking back on KMikeEM in terms of control of things like clothing? Like, how interesting is that? How compelling is it? Where do you fall?
I generally think it's interesting when it connects to a greater concept. And Brooks Brothers was such a great shtick. It was so unusual. It was so defining and off-putting, I think, to a lot of people, which makes it makes it interesting, makes it brave, makes it the kind of decision that I think shareholders should have input into. Should have brought a glass of water over here. I'm going to step away after this. But I think when we're sort of voting on trivialities that aren't connected to a greater strategy or project, it's not quite as compelling.
Fair. I like that answer. Let's go next to Bo. Sorry if I seem kind of short as you say your final parts. I'm also running a couple different screens myself. Okay, Bo, it is your board.
Let's do Mikey Likes It 4.
Mikey Likes It 4. Here we go. This is a difficult one because it's very personal. But what recent-ish AAA video game does Mike find dangerously addictive?
Was this Cyberpunk 2077?
The answer is Cyberpunk 2077.
Well done.
I lost myself in that. Yeah. This for me is like, I don't know, it was essentially like a virtual vacation and something I find myself like as I get into those modes, time goes away and it's potentially bad, but it's also fun. Shareholder control of hobbies has never really come up, but I think something like this is something where I think of what the shareholders would want me to do, and it's probably not play this game for 17 hours at a time.
It is interesting that you got so into this game, because what kind of I found out about the project from Wired magazine, which I've always associated with this kind of cyberpunk aesthetic, and the idea of playing with corporations as people or people as corporations has always been kind of a cyberpunk trope as well. So it's not surprising to me that that's the one you got sucked into.
It's a really good point, though. We played a lot of the cyberpunk role-playing game in high school, and those tropes, obviously, same thing. It was I think that was probably much more formative for me than I really thought of. That's interesting. All right, let's move on to Doug.
Yeah, Mikey likes it too.
I think we did that one.
Cool.
We've got on Mikey likes it. We have 1 and 5
Ooh,
are still
and I
open.
assume they're not in like difficulty order, or
They're really not. It's
okay,
just
yeah,
it's
great.
just
We'll
it's
go.
yeah.
Mikey likes it one, just to.
Mikey likes it 1. The first question. This is a common refrain of mine. Um, Catherine probably gets annoyed I say it so often, which is safety first, fun second, blank third. What is that blank?
I'm assuming profit third, but I don't think. Oh yeah, good. I finally got one.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice work. Yeah. My thinking on this is like you have to be alive. So safety first makes sense. And then profits really are like some money is about safety, but the profits you really are just often used for things that are fun.
Yeah.
So if you put fun second, it's kind of like cutting out the middleman.
Yeah,
That's
and I
sort of
feel
my
like
thought.
we've talked before about in the past about like your runway, and I'm of the opinion that if you are safe and you are having fun, profit is sort of inevitable. Like you're going to find projects that return well for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Doug. Let's finish up this round. Go back to Josh. Josh, the board is yours. If you have a section that you want to go into, I can tell you what's currently open.
Yeah, how much is open on origin damage?
Origin damage is 1 through 4 is all open.
That's what I thought. I'll go back. Origin damage 4.
Okay, here we go. I mean, I worked with you in high school, so this one's
Is,
kind of
is this
easy.
is this an advantage for me?
Where did Mike work part-time while in high school?
Mike, who at that time spelled his name with a silent Q in the middle, worked at McDonald's. I don't think there's a job in there, an entry level job in there you didn't hold. You swept, you mopped, you.
Front
What do you
counter,
do to the
fry.
buns? What the hell did we do to the
Oh,
buns?
it wasn't
You
caramelize.
queued them, or anyway. I think you
Yeah.
did everything in McDonald's. Formative experience. You've worked at the 2 largest job training organizations in America, then McDonald's and the U.S. Army.
Wow. Yeah, one after the other.
Yeah.
I it was as I was going through this and this question, I think I was like reviewing like my own LinkedIn and being like, oh, I never put McDonald's on there because it was a high school job. But it's interesting that Hamburger Business Review is up there, which has so much to do with McDonald's and was clearly part of that attraction to doing that project.
I think your orientation to that job was also safety first, fun second, profits third. You didn't do anything particularly dangerous. You did have more fun than I think was expected or appropriate, and it was profitable, but I think you also could have easily been fired.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. It's maybe that motto doesn't work well within companies like the Army and McDonald's. Well, yeah,
It worked for you.
Yeah. Okay, let's go back to the board. That was number 4. I gotta remember to check those off. And let's bring Bo back up. Bo, what section would you like? I'll let you know what's open.
Is Mikey Likes It 1 available?
It is.
Let's do that.
Oh wait, sorry, no, it's not. Only number 5.
Oh, 5. Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Yep. 5. Okay.
Let's do 5.
What publicly traded company was inspirational to the launch of KMITM? If you are stuck, I can give you a hint.
I am pretty stuck.
I mentioned it in my TED Talk.
Well, I watched the TED Talk twice, but I still don't remember what it was.
Something about a shareholder letter. It was the first shareholder letter I ever read.
Hmm.
It was. Here we go. I'm
Yeah.
gonna give it to you.
Okay, yeah. Oh, of course.
Yeah. The famous shareholder letters of Warren Buffett in Berkshire Hathaway. And my moment was like, I was like, oh, like the way that he had structured everything under this weird random company really appealed to me in that I had all of these strange random collection of projects online with various different people. So that was the dawn of that. All right, that ends that category. Let's bring Doug back up.
Yeah.
We've got origin damage, money stuff, or wild card.
What's left in wild card?
Wild card has 2, 4, and 5.
We'll go with the 4.
4. I'm going to check that off. And what revealed activity plummeted the approval rating of Agassi during the Romance Project. This was a separate website from KMyCam that you'd use your login for, where it would track who I was dating with names that were pseudonyms that were made up. So trying to avoid any sort of like making it too weird for them. But at some point, this activity that Agassi occasionally indulged in came up, and I was so bummed. I watched her number just plummet. What was that activity?
I'm very curious because there was a lot of intrigue and sort of drama in that era of voting. I want to say smoking, but that doesn't feel quite. Oh, thank goodness, because
Nice
my second guess was not going to be more positive. So.
Yeah, I was so surprised. I remember as I'm like writing up these updates, and everyone just honed in on that.
Because memory is blurry. Did Agassi, is that Catherine or was that somebody else?
That was Marika.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Catherine was never part. She was post Romance Project.
Oh, good for her. Yes.
Yeah. Sharing over shares is her motto. Okay, that ends round 2. Let's move on to round 3. I'm going to change these questions again one last time. Really simple, straightforward on the Slido. Who are you going to vote for? Pick a favorite as we run through these last questions, and we'll head back to Josh. The board is yours. You have Origin Damage, Money Stuff, or Wild Card.
I haven't picked one from Money Stuff yet, so
1, 2, or 3.
I'll take 1.
1. Money Stuff number 1. The question is, what was the title of the book in the only instance of the K5M book club that happened in 2020?
Yeah, it was a book. I feel like it was a book by a radio or podcast guy. It was a book about money. I'm blanking. It's not like, it wasn't like, wasn't the enormous one about inequality, thankfully, because I don't think we would have gotten through that. It's not called Debt. Yeah, I remember all these aspects about it, but not the title.
Yeah.
What's it called? Money? Yeah, the true story of the made up thing.
Yeah, but the
I said
title
the
was
word
just
money.
I know exactly, and I almost
final answer.
I almost clicked and made it show up when you said that. That's funny. Yeah. It was so fun to do that, but it was so hard to keep up, and it gave me a lot of respect for people that run any kind of virtual book aspect gathering. It was exhausting and much harder than I expected doing a book club.
Book clubs in real life end up being about drinking wine and chatting. I think your conception of it was a little harder to pull off than most.
I'd never been in a book club, so I was sort of making it up as I went along. All right. Shoot, was that 3? Is that what you said?
I think it was 1.
1. Okay. I did check it off. All right. Yeah. Back to Bo. Only, what do we got left? It's basically, there's 2 or 3 left on Origin Damage, Money Stuff, and Wild Card.
Let's give me one from Origin Damage.
Origin Damage, you can go 1, 2, or 3.
Let's do 1.
Number 1, Origin Damage. Who hurt me? Mike was born on May 17th, 1977 in what city and state?
Was this Coldfoot, Alaska?
So close. Lived there, but was born actually in Fairbanks.
Born in Fairbanks, okay.
Yeah. Slightly bigger hospitals, that sort of thing. But yeah.
It beats being born right out onto the frozen tundra.
It's true, which would have been the example had it been Coldfoot, Alaska. Yeah. All right. You've been to Alaska, haven't you?
I have. Yeah, I went to your old stomping grounds.
Nice. All right. Let's go. Let's move on. Wrap these up.
I'll grab another Origin Damage.
Origin Damage 2 or 3.
Go for 2.
Number 2. Here we go. Origin Damage number 2 is pretty simple.
Yeah.
How many siblings does Mike have?
I know you have 2 brothers. My brain is telling me you don't have a sister. I'm guessing 2 siblings.
Answer is 2 brothers. Yeah. You're right.
I've met both, but I'm like, does he have a secret sister I've never met?
Oh, yeah. Nice. No, that's it. Just 2. Or middle child. That's the Origin Damage aspect of that question.
And the genetics are very strong in the looks, I'll say. Your brothers look so much like you, or you look so much like your brothers. But yeah.
Let's go back to Josh.
Oh, we're still going. I'll take the last one available in origin damage.
All right, that's number 3. We're gonna rip through this pretty quickly. Here we go. Again, Josh also was in this with origin damage is gonna be easy section for you. What sport did Mike compete in during high school?
Well, he competed much more effectively than I did at swimming.
The answer is swimming. It's correct. I lettered, which
Again, a
was
lot
so
of
surprising.
fun. Safety was reasonable. I don't think you profited much from this one.
No. Well, health-wise, I think there's an ROI. I still swim.
Yeah, I wonder if it's the first like specifically healthy activity that you ever did.
I think so. I was definitely forced into it by my parents and didn't want to join the swim team. So I wouldn't be swimming now, nor would I have done it then by choice. Yeah.
And would you advocate for forcing people to do things like this that with the hope that they would ultimately enjoy it? We could do this with you, I suppose.
I think we do this with me. I think pushing to try things with the option of like, give it an honest chance. It's not a terrible way to, expose children and adults and all of us to a lot of things and see what sticks, see what we care about. Yeah. All right, let's go back to Bo. Return to the board. There is only money, stuff, and wild card left.
Let's what do we got in wild card?
Wild card, we got 2 and 5.
Let's do 2.
Number 2, wild card. All right, here we go. What iOS game did Mike release in 2015 with Mountain Machine Studios?
The only
first game I ever released.
The only
in the
game I
App
remember is Change Wizard. But okay, well there we go.
The answer is Change Wizard. It's sadly, as the iOS moved on, it was deprecated and is no longer available. But it was very fun to have. I kind of wanted the Apple version of an EGOT, having like everything on all the different Apple platforms. My goal at some point is to have like a game, a book, I guess a TV show now. That's going to be harder. But yeah, just like one of everything in the Apple ecosystem. So I was pretty excited when I got to do Change Wizard. Okay, last round, last question.
Let's find out wild card.
The last wild card is number 5. Okay, here we go. What incredibly annoying argument does Mike love to instigate between other people?
There may be many. The one that comes immediately to mind is like, is X a sandwich?
Yeah, that is the answer. What is the sandwich?
Yeah.
That was also a long-running project that I feel like people, and I love this, people still send me any mention of sandwich, hot dog, what is, all of that news that happens. I feel like I've co-branded myself with that concept.
I have a friend who believes that everything is actually a dumpling instead of a sandwich.
Yeah. I would love to pit him against someone and watch them argue and just feed that argument. Yeah. Okay, that wraps up the competitive section. Now it is time for candidate closing remarks. Doesn't have to be very long. We can kind of wrap this up, but we're going to go in that same order. Josh, Bo, Doug. Josh, what do you got?
This has been such an interesting project for me since the beginning, because before there was KMikeEM, I was a person who had influence and was an advisor to Mike. So in a sense, I had something to lose by Mike starting this project. But even though that's the case, I think it was a good thing for Mike to bring shareholders into his life to be influencers and participants and profitable investors, I guess, all the roles that you have as shareholders. So for me, I think I bring to the board the kind of like history and knowledge of Mike and how to get the best out of him, however we might be defining that in any moment. I think I should be on the board. I don't think it would be good if everyone on the board were like me in that way. I think it's also exciting and important to have people who bring certain skills and bring new ideas or new approaches to Mike. But I think having a person on the board with the depth of history and understanding of Mike and KMikeEM that I bring would be beneficial. So I hope I get your vote.
That's great. Thanks, Josh. Let's move on to Bo.
Yes, I'll keep mine short and sweet and just say that a vote from me is a vote to clean up outstanding projects, remove all that psychic weight, and free up Mike to move forward in a way that benefits himself and the shareholders.
I like that. There's a real activist sentiment behind that, coming in with a mission. All right, and Doug.
Yeah. I'll say no matter who anybody votes for, I think all three, also throwing myself in that lump, great people to vote for. It's clear that we have a passion for this project and the overall well-being of Mike. I think a vote for me tends to mean harmony for Mike as a person and long-term success of this project. My votes tend to be in favor of the things that will have him feel better about life, maybe more financially successful, and just continue this growth that we've seen over the last 10 plus years as he's much more mature in his relationships, his approach to business. We're seeing fewer projects start up. We're also seeing fewer make or break, like drastic choice votes of like, we're no longer forcing him to vote Republican or Democrat or forcing him to wear a certain thing or eat only a certain way. I do like that as this matures, we see Mike mature in it. Yeah, but any candidate's a great vote.
That's great. All right. I think that's it.
I have a point of inquiry before we wrap up.
Oh,
is
yes.
that a Robert's rules? Is that a thing I can do?
Sure, we'll allow it.
Are we, the candidates, expected to vote in this final vote as well?
I believe the answer is yes. You are still, and you will always be shareholders, and your votes are important. So yeah, please, and that is how we're kind of going to wrap this up, is say thank you for voting in the polling, but now it's time to cast your ballots for real for shareholders. There's a link and the QR code there that should take you directly to vote.kmikeem.com. It's that first major vote. We're going to wrap it up, and I think the timer says that it's going to go for like another 2 hours, but we're actually going to close it sooner. That was just to give myself some room on this, because I really want this to be the final aspect of campaigning and thinking about this. I want to wrap it up. So you're going to have about 30 minutes to go cast your vote, and the lowest person will be eliminated, and the other two will be board members, and we'll have our first board meeting, and it's very exciting. Thank you guys for doing this. Thank you to Austin. Thank you to Jefferson, the other candidates that were eliminated in previous rounds. I really appreciate everybody that wanted to participate. I think all 5 of you have been some of the most active and kind of reliable shareholders that I'm talking with and interacting with all the time. So your impact is already, like, it doesn't just have to be on the board if you do want to get involved. And yeah, I also appreciate those people that are a little bit more passive and just come in and vote. Like, it's a massive amount of people. It's like there's over 1,000 shareholders. There's a lot of different viewpoints. The comments are fun. I like doing things like this. A very special thanks to Aaron Parecki for putting this together and hosting it. He's done an amazing custom job with all of these different windows and transitions and the effects and pulling all this stuff in. It is, I promise you, it's more complicated than you would believe. And he has a channel that he does every Sunday. We actually did our tech rehearsal on his channel where he goes through all of this amazing live streaming gear. So if you're interested in that, go find Aaron Parecki. Yeah, that's it. Thanks. Please go vote. Buy some shares if you want your vote to matter more. That's it. Thanks so much. Thank you, guys.
No world where one voice can echo. Mike stands alone, but he's never solo. Decisions made with a multitude. Every vote cast a shared attitude. Raise your voice in unity, we're found. Together we stand on common ground. Wisdom of the crowd, it's our guiding light. In the sea of many we find our might. unity we're found. Together we stand on common ground. Wisdom of the crown, it's our guiding light. In the sea of many we find our might. Through highs and lows, the votes will tell a story of life woven so well. Each choice a thread in the fabric spun under the watchful eye of everyone. In this game of life, the stakes are real, but with collective minds, there's strength to feel from every foe. A lesson drawn in life's journey, we all press on. Raise your voice.